Many process safety incidents are the result of changes that have been made to a plant or to a way of working that has not been adequately risk assessed. These are often very small changes where the wider impact was not understood. Management of change, or MOC, is the process whereby changes are assessed to ensure that they do not inadvertently introduce new hazards and unknowingly increase risk. It is an essential component of process safety management. The scope of an MOC is any change that isn't a like-for-like replacement, and it considers physical equipment and organisational or procedural changes, which could be either permanent or temporary. When it comes to the implementation of MOC, it's not just large-scale, multi-million-pound changes that we're talking about. Accidents have occurred in major hazard industries due to the unforeseen consequences of minor changes being made too. Many were made with the best intentions, including alterations made during startup and operations, as well as organisational changes. So how do we perform an MOC? Once a request for a change is raised, it should be clearly described so that it can be understood by everyone. The MOC process also asks for a suitably robust risk assessment to be carried out where new or impacted hazards are identified and possible side effects spotted. Personnel will be directed, perhaps using a checklist as a guide, to select the appropriate risk assessment technique, which, for larger, complex changes, may involve safety studies such as HAZOP or LOPA. The documentation that is required to be reviewed and updated as part of the change will be identified by the MOC process, and all of this should occur before the change is made. MOC is not complete once the physical change has been made. It's only once it has been fully implemented that this can be claimed. This includes informing all stakeholders of the change, providing the necessary training, and updating the required documentation and maintenance routines if relevant. Your organisation will likely have a dedicated MOC procedure that outlines when to perform an MOC, the activities required to assess it, and crucially, who should be involved. Management too has a pivotal role to play in the MOC process and in ensuring that changes made do not have a detrimental effect on safety. There should be personnel with relevant knowledge and competence available, and they need to be given the necessary time and the resources to follow the process. Of course, there may be situations where an emergency change needs to be completed quickly, but this should not shortcut any part of the MOC process. Appropriate training should also be given to all staff that may be involved in this process. 1, so they can understand that it is essential to safety, and 2, so they make sure it is used for any change that they are involved in. They should also understand that they must not make any changes outside of the MOC process. There ought to be a means of measuring how the MOC process is performing too. Key performance indicators, such as the number of open MOCs or the time taken to close out actions from them, may be good indicators as to the overall health of the process and whether it is performing effectively. So, in summary, many process safety incidents are the result of changes that have been made but not adequately risk assessed. MOC is an essential and key component of effective process safety management. You should familiarise yourself with your organisation's MOC procedure. MOC applies to changes of all sizes, big and small. In fact, many incidents occur due to the creeping changes caused by multiple small changes that were not adequately risk assessed. And finally, an MOC should be started before the change is made, and it is not completed until the change has been fully implemented, meaning that relevant documents have been updated or training completed.